What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to 100% Mags. So, of course, Newcastle United took on the A-League All-Stars at the Marvel Stadium in Australia earlier on this morning. 8:05 this morning, UK time, 5:05 Australian time. And, of course, looking at it, a lot of people may be thinking, wow, Newcastle United beat 8-0 by the A-League All-Stars. Well, it wasn't the first team. Looking at the starting lineup Newcastle United put out, Keith Gillespie was probably the only one there out of the senior players. The rest of the team was around the age of 21 and downwards. When you look at it, the average age of the squad was 21 and a half years old. So it's kind of understandable in a way that, it would be a tough game for the lads. They just were quickly put together for this game. Now, there's not really any need to worry about this, to be honest, because this is just a friendly at the end of the day. So there's no competitive nature to it. But there was, of course, Callum Wilson, according to reports. Callum Wilson was still there, Dan Burn was still there, Matt Ritchie was there, Paul Dummett was there, but they weren't selected for the squad for obvious reasons. Callum Wilson is being talked about being moved away from Newcastle United this season. Matt Ritchie, is possibly leaving the club as well. Paul Dummett's possibly leaving the club. Dan Burn just played in the game against Tottenham, so we don't want to risk players getting injured before the new season comes around. But the likes of Bruno, Joe Linton, Emil Kraft, Almiron, and Isak all left Australia yesterday before this game. Of course, Bruno and Joe Linton heading to Brazil. Bruno to head to Brazil for, of course, the games coming up for the Brazilian national side. Joe Linton heading to Brazil because of the news that has been going around is that he is going to marry his girlfriend in Brazil. So I'm sure Bruno will be attending the wedding as well, with him being very close mates and pretty much brothers as well. But looking at the game, in a little bit more detail, there wasn't really much to talk about. There was a couple of moments where, we did have a chance to get something in the game, get a goal in the game, but it just didn't seem to have any substance to it. There was just, nothing really there to show that it was a team that was all working on the same page. You could see that they were, quickly put together at the end of the day. But it is what it is, it was only a friendly, and it was the end of our post-season tour of Australia for, of course, what is in Australia the Global Football Week in Melbourne. So it is what it is. I'm not going to be too fussed and too worried about, we younger lads losing 8-0 in Australia. At the end of the day, they've got plenty of time, to get themselves as a cohesive unit and be able to push, for their chances to get into the first team. Garang Cole had a brilliant chance in the game as well, but just wasn't to be. Let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. I know it's a shorter video than usual, but there's nothing really much to say, to be honest. It was just a pretty strange game to witness, to be honest. And I'm sure, obviously, if we had played with first team, it would have been so one-sided. And that's not being disrespectful by any means to the A-League side. It's pretty obvious, it would have been really one-sided if we had went out there and played Isak, Bruno, Joe Linton, Almiron. We would have been about 3-4-0 up before even half time. So it's kind of obvious at the end of the day, that Eddie took a chance to rest them players and give them the time, to go away and rest their legs for the brand new season. Obviously, Bruno going off to play for Brazil as well in the tournament coming up But let us know your thoughts. Till next time, I'll see you all later. And how are the lads?